We all went to school.
Yeah, well, you didn't, but I didn't really either. Dropouts.
Talking to Mike for me.
Talking in the mic for you.
Mic check.
We ask very serious questions.
Yeah, it's a lot like that conversation we had with Arlen the other day. It's pretty serious.
Perfect.
All right, we're live. We're live. Welcome to the Efoil podcast.
Thank you. Thanks
Joined
for
by
having me.
Cam.
Yeah.
Right
Cam
on.
and Magness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
last names are good.
Walt.
Yeah.
Walt Dickinson.
He's still my co-host. Actually, he's going to be the whole host. I think that's kind of better. So, standing around and wanting to do this podcast and then hanging out with you, I've always conscious of what I'm asking you, because I don't want to ask you questions over and over again and it not feel real, because I really don't know who you are.
Yeah.
So I've been quiet the last couple of days. I'm like, damn, I want to ask him a question, but I'm not sure.
You've been holding back this whole time.
A little bit.
Okay.
He says it. He's
A little bit. I'm like,
podcast.
no, because I want this. This is not real. It's not a real interview or something.
Yeah.
It's more casual and chit chat. So I want it to be oh, hey, where are you from? And I didn't really get to ask you anything, and it's kind of better, in this kind of format.
For sure.
I want it to be casual and relaxed, and not to ask you questions over and over again that we've already talked about. So it was good to meet you finally. And,
you as well.
And test out all the new toys you've got going on. So that's kind of sick.
Yep.
So yeah, give me a little bit of background, where you're from and.
Sure. Yeah. Born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. So at least I guess going into board sport wise, I grew up doing skating, and my parents had a boat, and we'd go out to the lakes all the time. So at least a little introduction into water sports and things. just doing all the wakeboarding, kneeboarding, tubing, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, so landlocked, but on a lake.
Landlocked, but we found our way to water.
Yeah.
So it was cool. And then for a good amount of years straight, we'd go up to Lake Powell every at least once every year, and it was just incredible going up there, and just the landscape and everything, just epic.
So that's behind a boat then?
Behind a boat, everything behind a boat. And then when I was 13, we finally went up and tried snowboarding for the first time. Instantly fell in love with that. Mm-hmm. And so even being in Arizona, being hot and dry, we'd go up into the mountains there and go snowboarding all the time, and do little school trips up to, we went to Purgatory and Telluride and all that kind of stuff too. So
yeah, we were saying how I lived in Colorado a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was the mountain I used to go to.
Yeah.
Super cool mountain.
Super.
It was
cool
a lot
mountain.
of fun.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So good board sports background a little bit, huh?
Yeah. And then
what was your main thing back then?
Main thing, well, I'd say I probably got deepest into snowboarding, because once I was out of college, we moved to Fort Collins, Colorado, and then I'd go up with buddies all the time, going up to Summit County, hitting Breckenridge, Keystone, A Basin all the time, and it was almost every weekend, having that single freedom back then, just going up.
It's okay, I'll ask a question later.
You ever wreck yourself on the snow? Any injuries?
Yeah, I got a good little collarbone.
I knew it.
That's
I got
typical.
The AC separation here on the left shoulder.
Do you? Yeah.
Another good snowboarding injury, right?
Man, so yeah,
I was so lucky. I never got
Really?
any injury.
Nothing, huh?
Didn't break anything on the
He was
mountain.
a kid, though. We were
Well,
11.
he was a kid. He was just saying that he was a kid.
Oh, all right,
Well-
well, fine.
Well, we're not kids anymore. I'm a kid.
But of course, it's I was out doing park stuff all the time, hitting jumps and doing all that, and of course it was one snowy powder day. I was just on a blue run doing butters, and just caught an edge and just rolled funny. That's how it happened.
It's always when you're doing something stupid and easy.
Stupid and
Always
easy,
something
Never-
stupid and
dude,
easy.
for sure.
Never when you're hucking a 50-foot jump, right?
Right, yeah, or you overshoot it and just explode in
my
the
God.
flats, right? No, it's just doing little butters there. So, yeah.
So how did you end up at Lift, and what's your role there now?
So yeah, kind of funny progression, at least.
Oh, I forgot to say that. Yeah, he's this guy. I'm like,
Other than the hat, what do you actually do? Why are you on this podcast?
well, when people
Look, it's just after New Year's. We're a little brain dead. We've been surfing a lot, staying up too late.
Well, when people read the description,
They'll know.
They'll have like an idea, and then we'll just like blindly go through the podcast, not knowing anything of why you're here.
I think it's like we know what they believe in you now, right? Like they believe in us, so they're gonna tune in.
I doubt it, but
Yeah. So, kind of what led me to Lift. Well, first of all, I remember seeing the videos like when they first came out with that in like 2017 or whatever. Like, oh my gosh, there's hydrofoil boards like electrified, moving like that looks incredible.
Yeah.
Just seeing guys just ripping across the water. Just especially. Just knowing.
Were you foiling at that point?
Oh,
or?
no.
No.
Oh, no.
Okay.
This was when I was in Colorado, just still playing in the snow.
Okay.
Just remember seeing just how awesome that looked, and so it's just like, man, yeah, if just cool, just if I could work in anything in board sports, with a design background, it would just be incredible, right? So, but years later, I just from my previous work life, I had a good buddy who's Stephen Willis. So he heads engineering. He's our CTO at Lift. He got hired on through his buddy Nick. So he knew Nick through college. So he was like college roommates with
awesome.
him. And so I always knew Stephen and knew him for years. And he always had a friend, this elusive friend that lived in Puerto Rico, right? And and come to know it's the inventor of Nick Gleason, being the inventor of the Efoil, and so Nick had called up Steven, hey, help me out with my my business, and so he moved down here. I think he's been here for about 3.5-4 years.
I think so. Yeah.
I think somewhere around that time frame.
But he was the one that was doing like helping the production.
Yeah.
Side.
Exactly.
There's like a really good video on that with him.
Definitely.
How that was developed.
Exactly. So it was just cool. I had I was kind of in a transition point with my previous work life, and it was like, hey Steven, if you need a design guy, let me know. And then he just sent me a text, let's talk, right? So
nice.
So had a conversation, flew me out here to come check it out. And
had you foiled at that point?
No. Well, I tried it once just because we have some engineers that are in Colorado. And so I tried it once, and it was just epic. Water sports, control at your fingertips,
that's so cool.
foiling and everything. But
that's interesting, like coming into it, not have done foiling. Learning on the Efoil and getting into it that way, and then
for sure.
and then merging with the company.
For sure.
Super cool.
For sure.
So you're from the bottom, not knowing anything, and moving yourself through as you kind of practice the sport yourself.
Exactly.
And maybe a different perspective on it too.
For sure, because my progression with foiling stemmed purely from e-foiling.
Yeah.
So
I saw that when we were testing out the Foil X. And you're on the Efoil, and I saw you in the back just ripping on these waves on an Efoil. I was like,
on the Lift5 full battery.
I'm like, that is crazy. I don't think I've seen it.
Dude,
maybe
look at those quads. All right, this guy's pushing some weight.
Just lit.
So it was impressive. It was very impressive to watch, man. You were getting in some pretty critical points of the wave where we've been getting, but you're doing it on a unit that weighs almost because that's a traditional e-foil, right? 2.5-3 times what the foil drive weighs. So it's pretty impressive, like how you tuned into it, and it really shows us how much tuning into the equipment and training with the equipment puts you in a place. Because if you can do that on that, oh my God, when you shed 30 pounds, what's your surfing going to look like, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's what's interesting too, is that, I always, just from my experience, snowboarding and all that, is I knew there's so much potential in these e-foils and everything, right? Mm-hmm. And so as I progressed, went from loving the, 200 surf, and it was I got to step it down, right? So I hopped, tried the 120 high aspect, and that was my wing for the longest time. And then because that thing's just so you could whip that and just be
Yeah.
maneuverable with that, especially compared to like the 200 size. And then we
it's a big step.
It's a big step.
That foil
And then-
is huge for both of us, for a lot of the foiling community. Like the 120 just changed how we thought about like sizes of foils and like what you could do for
right.
sure.
And even with the weight of the full Efoil, like, I started getting into just doing the folding prop and then playing around with that in the surf. And I mean, that's really, it just took a few sessions with me having to, figure that out. But that was interesting from my perspective too, because I was all used to just like flat water and everything, right? I didn't have much experience with surf, so just trying to like jump into waves, trying to figure
surfing
it out.
background?
Well, surfing, when I first moved here, Nick had just gave me a surfboard, like, hey, go mess around with this.
Puerto Rico, go surf.
Puerto Rico, go surf. And so, I started paddling into, some waves and stuff and just getting wrecked and trying to, battle with everybody trying to fight for waves in the lineup when, I'm still, just learning and everything.
Yeah.
But that's what's so cool, is just going out on Efoil. I could go in spots without, where there wasn't, there's not the surf lineup, nobody's around, and we'd just be out here just playing around on waves and just experimenting, right?
Yeah.
Just seeing what works. And so just started
and that's
going
like,
out
what,
there.
2 years?
Yeah, so this is like two years ago.
So that's like, it goes to show like how much time you get on foil. Like I've been foil surfing for double that, and the way that you see him surfing these waves, it's crazy. Like your level, it's extremely high.
For only being, we've been talking about.
It's just it's the amount of time that you get on foil, being able to just like put yourself in the right place. I've seen like I was saying before, I've seen a couple people, rip on an Efoil like that, but it was big. I was holding myself back a little bit because I wasn't used to the weight of the board. Mm-hmm. My setup's just a little bit lighter, and I was like, holy shit, the way that you were whipping that thing around, and it's impressive. It's really cool.
Yeah, I know, it's just funny, because definitely, with us, and there's another engineer, Mike, that I'd typically go out with, and it's been cool having a buddy to like go out and progress with too, because we, one, just from safety kind of stuff, being out there, but two, just to like push each other out there too, and just experiment and figure stuff out has just been awesome. But learning on we were just learning on a 4.2 Lift4, and even that thing, man, you get the right wing set up and you get dialed in, that thing's a surf machine.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can just we could get in at Crash Boat where it's all nice and flat, go head up miles up the coast, go in between, ruins of wilderness.
You got tons of juice on that, go as far as you need. Yeah,
exactly. And we have over an hour's worth of waves, just doing, laps and loops, that just like the amount of ride time and the amount of waves that we get, even in one session is pretty crazy.
And you're doing it with like training weight, right? Like, which is another piece. It's pushing you to be better at managing your foil, at anticipating turns, about being like dialed in on your weight placement. I think that the benefit that Efoil and Foil Assist gives to your surf progression is crazy. It's crazy, like the amount of time and the difficulty of mastering it. Like if it was easy, well then there's no progression, right? It's that all these sports are challenging, and I think moving to these like powered weighted things, like everybody kind of looks at it as like the easy way out. I completely disagree. I think it's to do it at a high level, it's incredibly challenging, and you can practice so much more. I think it's the thing that I've been so excited about. It's like, man, I'm just getting so much time, not just on foil, but like critical turns on foil, and that's just totally leveling up.
Exactly, and it's just to be able to get that. I think a lot of the progression too is just learning how to how to read the waves out there, right? Just to like know how steep, how much does the wave have to stand up for me to be able to even hook into this thing, and when to let off power, and then just where to be, like where's the peak going to be, looking over your shoulder, setting up, and then diving the board in, and then and then be able to just peel off the shoulder and just motor right out to the next. It's pretty insane.
I definitely think awesome. Your experience snowboarding, I come from more of a snowboarding background than a surf background coming into the sport, and I don't know if it's something we don't talk about as much, but I do think that there's so much synergy between snowboarding and foiling.
Absolutely.
That rail to rail feeling that you get of like big carves on a mountain.
Absolutely.
I think that you don't have that in surfing in the same way. And I think that there's like a ton of carryover there. I think it's especially when you are on these Efoils and foil assists, like, because you can hook into those waves, or towing is the same thing.
Right.
You can hook into them so far back that they're really just these rolling swells. That it feels so much like snowboarding to me. Those huge carves that you're getting on that big open face, it's really cool, and I think something that like kind of helps lock those two sports together as you're progressing.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's so much that goes together with that.
Like handing it to you every once in a while.
I think like even with like some of the big waves, like getting in on 10, 12 foot waves, like where it feels like you're going on
down
a hill. Yeah,
right. Fucking mountain.
Right. I mean, that's really what it feels
progressively
like.
gets faster and faster and faster and faster, and you're just holding on to your pants.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I had a couple of those the last couple of days. I was just like, oh my god.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like every wave, that's what's so cool, is that every wave starts as a green run, and then it goes to a blue, to a black, to a double EX, to an avalanche, right? right?
So true.
And so, but that's what's so cool on foils, that you can hook in and then just be able to dip out, whenever on that progression that you want to. Exactly. I'm not there yet. Let's keep it safe. Let's keep out. But there's something about it though. If you got the right wing, at the right speed on the right wave, when it's clean, like it totally feels like you're on clean powder. And then the next wing, the next wave comes, and it's not tracked out, right? Like it's a fresh new.
It's all fresh powder, dude. It's all powder days, man.
Again,
and then you have enough 4 E-foilers around,
exactly,
creating all this like turbulation.
Let's not talk about that yet. Let's not put that out in the universe. Just enjoy this moment, guys. Like, we're in virgin territory of all this E-foil surfing, so it's it's gonna happen for sure. There's gonna get more people out there. So, how did you came into this position? What was this design proposition? Like, we haven't talked about the equipment you're riding. Obviously, you guys are progressing. Boards are getting smaller, faster, lighter, more free surf oriented. So you came in 2 years ago. Like, what was the design task that you were kind of handed, and how's that progression been, and like where are you guys right now? Yeah.
So first of all, it was to just improve. Yeah. So I got brought in. So I was brought in first as just a senior industrial designer. So if you're not familiar with like industrial design, I like to kind of describe it like if we're designing a car, like I'm the guy who's doing the sketches and all that up front, all the concept work kind of stuff, and then work with the engineers to make that reality, right? With Lift, with us being a little lean, we wear multiple hats and everything too, so I get into the production, and there's some projects that I've owned specifically, and push those forward. But I first came in, it's first like, how do we just improve the experience and improve the, it was the Lift 3 at the time, so we made the Lift 4, made some improvements there. But, Nick coming in, especially with the vision, like, hey guys, we gotta, this is our time. We gotta, kind of shed the past, come up,
I think it's hard as, like, for all of us, like consumers or retailers, or for a big company, to make a decision to completely change and make whatever else is in the past not merge with the new product, right? So to change the battery, to change the connection system, to change it all, it's a huge decision, because you're thinking, and it could hold you back, right? Is what can happen.
Right, exactly.
If you can't, you're like trying to improve this system that you've adopted for the last, I don't know, since the beginning. Right? And you're like, how do we improve on this to keep it within the same line? And I think there's a point where the tech, or what you're looking for, and the engineering, how it has to like really evolve. You have to be like, bite the bullet.
For sure. So it was like, getting together is like, guys, we have all this data, years of experience, years of feedback from all our customers, and reps, and affiliates and partners, and everything. Like, let's culminate all this into something that's just next level. And so, we started, starting working through the design process. Just getting in there, concepting, we're just brainstorming ideas. I was helping like visualize those things through sketches, and, and we're working with our vendors and suppliers, trying to set them up for for, you know, all the new stuff, you know, coming through too. And so I think there's, you know, I think first off, safety is always on top of mind. So just making sure with batteries and the equipment and everything that, you know, we're as good as we can be with there, and just the latest technology, and, you know, with sensors and firmware and all that stuff, all integrated. But performance is always, you know, top of mind with us, right? Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, we got to have the best product out there, and, you know, and especially, you know, being led with Nick, he doesn't accept anything but right. Yeah. Right. And it's just amazing too how dialed in he is, like with any new wing that we come out and try, like he'll jump on it, you know, where it takes me is like, oh, I got to compare between it, like side by side. And dude, he hops on and just knows by feel, like almost instantly. Yeah. Like,
I mean, I told you the first foil I ever rode was a Lift, you know, way in 2011, 2012.
Right.
And it was already an evolved Lift foil by then. Like, he's been doing this for a long time.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of feel under his feet.
For sure. For sure. And that's what's so cool too, that it's like everything we've been doing, like, yeah, we do a bunch of CAD and stuff, and, you know, we're prototyping and all this stuff, but it all comes down, and there's so much you can do just by numbers and all this analytics stuff, but it all comes down to feel, right? And so, like, if it doesn't feel right, we're going the wrong direction. So we got to make sure everything's, you know, feels and, you know, works as it should. And yeah, with our new boards, like, it's just awesome. I know one of the biggest pain points we always experience, you know, especially talking with everybody, just how much time it takes to set up these boards, right?
Yeah.
Just, you know, with, you know, Lift3, Lift4, just, you know, all the cables you have to hook up, and, you know, all the screws and dropping screws in the sand and all that. Like how do we improve that whole experience? So it's really cool just trying to just build a whole new platform from the ground up on, like, how do we simplify this as much as possible? And I mean, there's a lot of, you know, from what you see from the outside, like, it looks really simple, but there's a lot of just you know,
I assume so.
Yeah, a lot of engineering, a lot of prototyping, a lot that kind of went into all of that to make it the magic that it becomes. So, like, the battery drops in, you know, snaps right into the
all
bag.
the connections are just so elegant in comparison to the past. Everything feels clumsy historically after this. I mean, it's just like, you look at it, you're like, of course that's how it should have been engineered. Like, it's all so seamless and just fits together so perfectly. And the fact that, like, there's no screws. That's insane.
Right.
Like, I got 25, maybe 30 screws in my rig right now to keep it together. So,
well, when you're saying, like, trying to, that it's, you know, so complicated, like plugging in the battery with the cable, it's not really, you know, it was still very streamlined, you know, thinking about what I'm riding and what I have to go through to put my rig together, you know, the foil drive. And then when someone comes in there, I try to figure out what they want to do with their sport, you know, like, well, you just plug and play that thing. Essentially, that's what it's been till now. But now it really is like plug and play. Like, you just plug it in and plug it in. It's kind of silly how easy that is.
Yeah, but it is just like magic, though. It's like once you go and you set it up, it's like, I could not have this any other way. Like, there's no going back.
Yeah, how did we do it like this before? Right?
Yeah. Because, I mean, it really is just like, when you think about going out and riding, it's everything that you have to prepare and do to be able to go out and ride too. And, like, you know, even if it's like that streamlined to get people out and over that edge of riding more and enjoying themselves more, than, you know, and the better.
Yeah, I think a lot of surfers too, coming into it, you know, that's one of the big turnoffs of foiling, is you come into it, whether it's foiling or e-foiling or whatever, is that, oh man, I got a board, then I got this thing, and I got all these bolts and track nuts, and I got, you know what I mean? It's just like a lot of parts and pieces, when it's traditionally, surfing has been such a grab your board, get in the water sport, right? Pick the right stick for the day and get out there. And I think that you guys moving through some of those engineering problems that we all recognize in the sport as a whole is clumsy. I think it really helps open it up for more folks to come in. When you guys are designing, right, obviously, like, you're looking at, okay, how do we optimize all of like the user experience stuff, and how do I make it feel more, designed well and engineered for their experience? Then there's a performance side, right? And like, how did you guys marry those? Because obviously there's weight compromises and stuff. You guys looked at different mast placements with the prop and all kinds of things. Like, where was the focus? Was it more on like the design experience, or were you guys really being like, oh look, every day, how do we get this lighter? How do we get this faster? How do we get that prop smaller? Like, where was the focus as you guys went into the design challenge?
So it's a blend, because we have such a spectrum of riders that are out there, right? Like, we have guys that are just casual, want to go out with their family and just cruise, flat water, and then we got guys on the other end wanting to push this into waves and surf and all that. So, I mean, I think it's important to have solutions in place to cover as many people, to bring in as many people into the sport as possible, and do it, comfortably. So, yeah, there was a lot of discussion, especially with the board sizes and everything. Like, okay, what size, how many liters, like, what should the breakdown?
Well, we're never worried about Nick pushing the board small, so
right, exactly.
Why? Because like, smaller,
smaller, lighter,
smaller, faster.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I experienced, I bought a blowfish for my daughter, right? And then what you experience is you're like, oh damn. When I was trying to tell people what to buy, I always, when in Efoil, like specifically, I'm like, well, get the 5.4 because you're going to use it. It's still performance, and then other people are going to want to use it,
right.
And then those other people won't be able to use a 4.4,
right?
The sport,
right.
But you can buy the 4.9, put a blowfish on it for $500, and it's a huge board.
For sure.
Right? So you have two boards.
And so much more buoyancy. Yeah, exactly.
So I think that hit me like a couple of weeks ago, and being like, oh, well, you can buy one performance board, put a blowfish on it, doesn't hinder the performance, makes it have a lot of volume and safety, so the whole family can use it, and then you can learn into it, and then you can be on a smaller board.
Right, exactly.
Which makes a whole lot of sense.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what's like so cool about it. I think blowfish, has been such a great addition. And especially, just even last week, I took my family out, right? I got my wife and my daughter, and we went out, and we went out to like Peña Blanca, and so cool little spot where I had a 4.4, so our smallest Lift5 board, right? Put blowfish on that, and was able to put my daughter on it, and we were out just riding tandem out there, having a great time.
Cool. Oh,
and she's just loving it, and it's all inflatable. She feels safe on it because there's so much more buoyancy there.
Got little
and
ribs
it's like
in there to keep you
padding. It kind of nests her in there, right, a little bit, and
That's
so
what I'm saying with your girl, like put a blowfish on it.
Yeah.
It's like,
go, dude,
dinging it out.
That's right.
Yeah. So we went out cruising around, and then I was like. Yeah, Elle, you want to go? Let's tow you around on the boogie board. So we had a leash, strapped it to the mast. I was whipping her around on a boogie board. She was all smiles, having a blast.
That's awesome.
Then I took blowfish off, took the jet off, switched the wing out, put the folding prop on, and then went and surfed wilderness for the last half of the battery, and came back in. Like,
Dude,
what an awesome
future, man.
dude! What an awesome session, dude! Like, it's so versatile.
Yeah, because we don't really come from the e-foiling. Like, we just now are experiencing how awesome it is to have like a motor. Right? And going into the foil drive and like really trying to dive into that and feeling how much surf time we get, right? And for me, lift was I never even tried the folding prop before. Like, I never tried it because I was like, well, why would I do that? I don't need to. I can surf, I can wing. And then I started using the foil drive, and I thought, oh, I could surf with the folding prop low. I could surf with it high. There's so much benefit to a bunch of different performance users.
Right.
For me, the e-foil was always like a tool to get people to foil. That's how I use it in my school. And I'm like, and I never even really used the e-foil that much because that's just how I used it. I just didn't think of it that way. And then seeing you like rip around on it, you're like, oh shit, well, like then what's the use case? And I guess that's when like the Foil X makes a lot of sense to push that. It's for a different person.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So LiftX this is a whole new Efoil lineup, whole new level. Yeah, I mean, we see this thing being game changing for sure.
Oh, what I saw and experienced is absolutely game changing, and I think we've all been watching it, knowing that the future has to go this direction with these things, and it's pretty impressive. So, I mean, as you guys are looking at designing that, obviously, like the things that I noticed are the big differences are size of board, size of battery, right?
Yeah.
But your pod. And how that integrates into the mast and the size of that. Like, obviously you guys scaled that down. I'm sure that had a lot to do with like increasing the efficiency and the drag if you're going to make it more surfy, right?
Oh, for sure.
Seems like a pretty tough design challenge to get that as small as you could, right?
For sure. I mean, the whole point with LiftX was trying to make that thing as just as performance driven, as efficient as possible. And so that was,
Is it the same on the Efoil? How the pod is like inside the mast, like it's
the motor,
carbon,
the way
like
the motors, yeah.
Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, new with these masts. Yeah, I mean we have it. It's all the nose cone used to be plastic on it, right? It's an integrated carbon.
You know, on the Efoil as well.
On the Efoil as well. Yeah.
Which again, that allows you to like mold into it. All those seams are perfect.
Exactly. And from a design standpoint, I'm like, oh, it looks so good.
It
looks so good.
So sleek.
Like sculpted carbon. I don't know, dude. There's nothing
they're very
pretty
vessels. I mean, there's no doubt. Like holding it and looking at it, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is just it's like I'm on a Ducati, you know, like everything's just all blended together. And not that I ride motorcycles or anything. I was just trying to think of something that felt cool. Lamborghini, is that better, everybody? Anyways. Something like that.
No, but it's like truly the blend of our prone foil and Efoil like mix, and I'm so pumped to get more time on it too, and get out there and just see what we can do, because we got especially on our 4.8 and our 4.3 sizes, we got foot strap inserts and everything. So
really?
So that's what I'm saying, like this stuff,
the next level.
That's what I'm saying, like I remember like way back when, like seeing guys on the lake with like the air chairs, right, like doing all these connected, you know, like 360 backflip, you know, just skyrocketing it out there, like, you know, that's coming with foil. I mean, guys are doing it now, doing flips and all that kind of stuff.
Paul Cooper on the foil drive catching big airs, and I mean, there's guys pushing that, and it's like, you guys will fall right in line with the progression there, right? This isn't that much weight. It's manageable, and you have enough power that as long as you know how to control it, like, it's only a matter of time before people are hucking like huge backflips and big airs, and it's gonna be so cool. Won't be me. I'll be riding strapless, trying to not hurt myself. But
straps are sketchy. I don't know.
Straps are terrifying.
Like that's something for Arlen. Arlen can put straps on and
let her rip.
But I look forward to seeing you in straps, just hucking huge airs.
We'll see.
You won't break your collarbone.
We get you some snowboard boots, like layered, you know, crank them down.
Exactly.
Make you feel at home, you know, get you comfy out there.
But I don't know. It's just with LiftX, like it just has such a different feel compared to like our Lift5. I mean, just our
the pod itself is also a little bit different, right?
It is. We have a smaller. It's a smaller motor, smaller diameter motor. Yeah. And
what's the actual diameter? Is like inch and 3/4?
55 millimeter. Yeah. And so it has some length on there, but it's all. I mean, it's all performance driven, right? Because we still want this thing to be powerful and be able to just with the governor be able to tune up and tune down to what you're comfortable with, but you feeling like you're not maxed out as well, and to be able to support as big of riders as we possibly can on there too.
So is that because it's a super elongated pod, right? And I'm assuming that's for waterline, so you're creating less drag by having it longer, or like is it just to pack all the stuff in there?
Well, the size too is I mean, I'm not the electrical engineer, but the size of it equates to how much power output you can have with the motor.
Because that's all copper. Yeah, that's the electrical motor running
coil,
that whole length.
It's all coil.
So you just stretch it out longer to get less drag.
Exactly. But smaller motor, less drag, and we even tested it even on with the larger Efoils, and you can between like the the full size motor that we have and the smaller, and man, there is quite a bit of difference. I mean, it almost feels like you taking like a little parachute off of it or something. Like it's just less
drag.
Don't feel that drag. it makes it less stable too. I mean, in a good way, we're just looser, right? Because because drag is stability, right? So like it just makes it way more flickable even on that. But then you put it on a lighter board, and it's just the thing cuts. And then having less weight, I didn't really realize, until just recently how much like weight really affects like your glide and how much you can pump and lift, and so like going from the Lift5 to the LiftX, I mean, it's just, man, you can, move this thing and pop it up, just, almost
it's a LiftX, not Foil X?
LiftX.
I keep on calling it the Foil X, right?
Well, it's okay. You got time to get it right.
Whatever.
It's not out yet, so it's fine.
Well, it will be out now.
Well, now it is, but when we're doing this, it's not. So that was, I think, for me, getting to try it both with, I want to talk to you about like how you guys ended up with the thoughts between the low pod and the high pod and all that. But the thing that I was super impressed with when Nick let me try it for the first time was just, I had it so built up in my head from downwinding and surfing and being in the water foiling for the last several years that like, look, a little piece of seagrass hits the front wing of my foil and I know it and I can feel it and I feel like I got a kid hanging off my ankle, you know what I mean? And so I was like, there's just no way that they're going to be able to design a pod that doesn't feel like that, and from the experiences I'd had, that was kind of what was in my head. So I just built it up to where like, okay, I'm gonna get on this, but I know I'm gonna feel all this drag, right? I know I'm gonna feel all this drag. And then when I had this surf session with it, obviously like took a bit to tune in, but even that first wave when I released, it was just amazing how little drag I felt. And
with
then
the
that
low mount, you're saying?
With the low mount and the high mount. I tried the high mount first, and so the high mount was great because I was already used to bringing the pod up and down. But when that pod hit, I mean, it was almost seamless. Like I could almost not tell when it was going in or out of the water. Also, I'm used to dealing with a pod that gives me a little more drag, so I'm pretty good at handling that. And I don't know if it's a combination of just the design. Obviously, the design is great. Also, the inertia and the weight that the board has, maybe pushing through a little bit more. Yeah. But I think that was the breakthrough where I was just like, okay, wow, this is totally working. And it's like, where could this go from here? And like, this is the future for sure. Because you guys are already getting to a place. Yeah, when I tried the low prop next, that was where I was like, oh my God, like I can have this in the water all the time and I don't even really notice the drag and it's not really impacting my surf that much. So it means like we're closer than I guess I thought to this feeling of like free surf where the prop, the power, the motor, it's not affecting performance at all. And like, that's super cool. And that's like, I mean, it's going to change everything when that happens. Cause now we'll just if you can just be on foil on like your most ideal rig, like you would just be on an Efoil all the time. Like we wouldn't be doing all these other things. Cause like we know we can be on foil and put ourselves where we want to be.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I love with the low mount too, is just be able to cut like through the surf. Like you just have so much play, much play. And especially like go upwind as well. Like, you're not buzzing the whole time. That you have a lot of.
You don't like the hippo fart?
Of play.
Is that what it is?
Well, that's what we call it. Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, well, we call them hippo farts.
Well, I was a non-believer of the low prop.
Yeah, we were both non-believers.
I was like, so initially they send the deck and it has the LiftX and I see it and I was like,
why? Why would they do it?
I saw it and I was like, okay, here it comes. We know that it's coming because this foil assist market's been hot.
Right,
Lift has got to be, they're in there. They've been probably in there and they're masters of this thing. So where is it?
Yeah.
And then I saw the deck and I saw the prop all the way at the bottom. I was like, what happened? It was like my dreams.
You're like, they made an Efoil. I thought they were making a foil assist.
I was like, what is going on? And I talked to my rep and I was like, what's going on? They're like, yeah, we should have both, but I was like, you should have both. You will have both. I mean, all you have to do is do exactly what you did, but with a high prop. And then I was like, there's no way that they won't have that, right?
Right.
Because it's easy to make. Once you've already made it, you just have to move it either up or down. And I'm like, well, maybe they're just non-believers because they're surfing these Efoils all the time and you're already used to something and then you made it so efficient and engineered so well that you're like, wow, this is like I'm free surfing.
Right.
So
no, I hear you. Yeah. No, I think there's definitely market for both. I think anybody who's getting into foil drive and that kind of stuff. I mean, this will be it'll be an attractive solution for that. But it's also like it's interesting. Like in the office, like Nick is totally like a purist too. He's out there downwinding. And he wants. Our whole thing is trying to push progression and innovation to try to make all the electronics and everything, disappear, right, as much as possible. So that's what's, kind of crazy. I have my progression where I've learned purely from efoiling coming into it, and then you have, kind of, sometimes a little healthy tension going on, on where to push stuff, from a purist standpoint as well. And so, and then, I mean, we just, have heard just with the market and everything, just, I mean, all that foil assist stuff, it is hot right now. And just what you're seeing just with downwinding and everything too is, of course we couldn't leave that off, and we had to integrate. But,
I mean, you used it today, right? Yeah. And we did like a mini downwinder.
Yeah, it was like a bunny hill. It was like a bunny hill.
Yeah, it was super light. What, 15 knots max? Max. Not much ground swell.
Right.
You were on the 120. You took the high prop.
Yep.
And just try to get some glides and some surf in there.
Yeah. No, I loved it though. It was just like I totally see. I know I can't wait for some bigger conditions and stuff. But I totally see the. I mean I see the benefit. I felt it. It feels great. I mean, I prone too, so like I know what that feels like, and so I mean it's cool having that.
I think it is like a almost more of that snowboarding feeling of being like on a long run. You know, when you're out there downwinding, where you're just like in the bumps and reading the energy and carving. I think it's very, very cool. I think you're gonna dig the journey, and the LiftX is just gonna completely change the game for you guys with downwinding, because now you got something light enough that could carry in those swells.
Right, and just for progression's sake too, I can't wait too, just to start getting out there and just start working on my skills there and seeing if I, how quickly I can get to a true just downwind setup and try it,
It's tough.
Yeah.
But it's so rewarding. My God. Yeah, it's my favorite thing.
Right.
To do that downwinding.
Right.
Yeah, and when I tried the low prop, it's way easier. For somebody to transition to do that and get into it, because you don't have to manage all this height and everything. So you're not, but still you have to figure out when you want to turn it off and turn it on. So it's, it's still, there's a lot of progression in there. Like, it's not so straightforward. Everyone thinks, oh, well, you have a motor on it. And you're like, yeah, but look what we're doing with it,
Well, it's like looking at somebody who's like hucking backflips on a dirt bike and go like, oh, you got a motor. You're not on a mountain bike. It's like, well, yeah, it's still pretty gnarly and extreme, and takes equal amount of like discipline and time and training to like build to that skill set, right? So,
but I mean, I guess why not? I when I am using my foil assist, I love proning. Mm-hmm. It's not that I prefer this over proning. It's like it is more freeing. It is lighter. It's a totally different thing. I'm pumping and different glide, and
it's a different feel.
When I'm using my foil assist, it's like I attack the wave field totally different. Mm-hmm. I ride totally different. It's like a different thing for me, and I know I have a motor, so why not just use it? Just like, I'm not afraid to motor out to the sets in the back.
Right.
Like, we had a friend, he was like, oh, but I want to use my foil drive, but foil drive etiquette, I don't want people to know, that I'm motoring out, and like, I'm just take it easy, just use it to catch the waves. I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna be like motoring out, motoring in, motoring sideways. Like,
they're like fake paddling with the controller.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm not. I did that for like the first couple. I'm like, oh no, I've got a motor on it.
We all did that out of shame at the beginning.
I was like, okay, I'll just paddle a little bit, and I was like, I was also trying to save battery.
Yeah.
Because the battery doesn't last very long. Sure. So I was like, oh, okay. But now I'll just like flat water start right out the bat and just bump.
Yeah.
Like efoil all the way out.
Right.
Well, we went from using them like for kind of this assisted prone sessions where we were like waiting for a wave, catching the wave, surfing the wave, and then pumping. And then we were just like pumping around, like trying to link 2 or 3 waves, pumping and not coming off of foil, like dropping in and using it to like keep going. And then I think it's to assist, right? And then as we like evolved into it and started using it more, well, then it becomes like winging without a wing, where you can just be like, you can line it up like you were saying, you attack the field different. You're like, I see that wave coming over there, and you're just like, or towing, same thing, right? Where you're looking at the whole field, you're trying to find the cherries and then go get to them. And I think the ability to go attack a wave and like catch it way in the back, I mean, it's awesome. It's doubling your ride time on those. Obviously, I'm a fan. So,
how long did that take? like, how many prototypes did you guys go through? How many explosions did you have in the factory? I'm
any good stories?
Chill out.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I mean it's
Safety first, bro.
Yeah.
for sure.
I don't know. We had, I mean, several prototypes, and I mean, it's all kind of working through, just kind of seeing what works, what doesn't, what to keep in, what to not, and it's, you know, kind of a lot where, just having just these one-offs built, right, and then
Like here in Puerto Rico, or having them built and sent, like,
both.
Okay.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, how did that work? Like, as you guys are prototyping, like, how much of that is going back and forth between your factories and you, or are you guys able to prototype?
But I think
most
you
of that
guys
stuff
put
in-house?
everything, like electrical is all done here, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we install all the electronics and everything
Oh, okay.
here. Yeah, so we have, we press all our boards here in Puerto Rico as well. Just the LiftX boards were, those are all getting laid up and then sent over as complete boards. So they actually have like a carbon weave, where our boards are here in Puerto Rico are pressed in house by our skilled production guys.
Yeah, it was cool
It's
when
really
you guys
great.
brought production back.
Yeah.
And because that was a couple of years or 3 years ago or whenever
Yeah.
you did that new facility. It's really cool.
Yeah, but it's cool because we get to see what works, what doesn't. Like, hey, we need more reinforcement here, or the inserts for needs to change. It gives us that kind of flexibility, and then kind of got us.
I mean,
where we are today.
You're internalizing all the electronics and everything. Like, I guess it's just embedded in the board now, so we don't see all the connection points, but it's all there.
Yeah.
And they're still accessible, I assume, because
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, there's multiple components, and we've had our team of engineers kind of handle each one, and so we have there's still an e-box. It's in there. It's hidden in there, but it can still be pretty easily taken out and replaced if needed be.
well, I love that with my my Lift 4s or 3s or 2. Like, it just doesn't matter. All I do is I change the computer, and it's just a brand new board.
Right.
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 It's been pretty sweet.
But there's just a lot to it, though, because it's one, making sure everything's watertight, just mechanically. Two, just making sure it can handle, getting
Thrown over the
jumped,
falls.
getting thrown over the falls, right? And still where you'll be able to climb back up on it and be able to power out of the inside, and everything. And then just anything from, and then the whole battery side of its whole, its whole development
I can't
stuff
even imagine
too.
the challenge
Yeah, and I'm kind of out.
dude. You're like-
I'm more so
Like,
outside
see
of
how
that.
pretty it looks? Just make sure it still looks
Yeah,
pretty
it
when you're
fits
done
in this
figuring out
box.
that
Yeah,
battery.
yeah. But it's a lot to it. But it's just so cool though. Just like what the Efoil is, and what we've done. I mean, it's just such like this harmony of just material science and technology and batteries and and just
then
wing
sport,
development
right?
and sport, and bring this all together that creates this like incredible experience that we get to share with so many people. It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. The whole engineering and you just coming in and like clicking in the battery and then taking off, and you're like, I'll just take my mast off, like unclip it, and then we come. Then
I'm telling you, it feels good, dude. Every time that battery goes in, and just like, it feels good.
So Dylan and I are setting up like it's the pit at NASCAR, getting it all together. You just like, what's up, guys? And just like walks off, right? It was incredible. I mean, if that should have been a commercial.
Well, I
We
mean,
bought Dylan our stuff. Like, is he done?
yeah, it's true. And then coming back here, we got to rinse everything, make sure everything's sprayed down, and I don't think you washed anything. You didn't. What did you?
Well, yeah, I should.
You should. I'm like, oh damn. I'm
Well,
like,
we're product testing right now.
yeah, so
so
just see how long it lasts with the salt water and all of that
exactly,
components and
exactly.
stuff.
Oh, but there's no doubt the cleanup and breakdown is just very seamless with that
Yeah.
equipment. Also, the ability, we finished the downwinder. You hopped in the truck. You were like, snapped off the mast, popped the foil, threw it all in the bed. We had to like rig our stuff all fully set up, make sure nobody touched each other, because that's always bad with carbon. And so yeah, it is cool. It was really cool to see it all put into like practical application.
For
of, like,
sure.
Popping out in the
not
surf
just
and
not just
out.
test it, but also like see how it works in our application, because we're
Definitely.
using them every day. We're
Definitely.
loading them up, we're charging them up, we're putting them through their paces. I've we've said it before on the podcast, but you don't know that I sell all these foil drives and I bring them into the shop, and I personally have to be there to set it up for them. If not, I get like 10 phone calls. And,
Right.
You know, it's
Right. That investment up front.
yeah.
Yeah, really helps.
There's a plus and a minus to all of that.
Right.
You know, and then to see you come around and to see what you guys have made and how easy to use.
That's beautifully
Right.
designed and engineered. So
I mean, it would be awesome. Be like, hey, you just plug it in. Yeah. Yeah, and then press that button. Yeah, that one button that you got there. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
It sounds like such an easy follow through.
Yeah.
No, there's like still when I'm selling something electrical like that, there's still a responsibility of where they're going to
Absolutely.
use it and how they're going to use it.
Absolutely.
And, keep your fingers away from this and that, and don't turn on your remote and
Right.
all of that safety stuff, which is boring,
nobody
extremely
listens to that
boring.
usually, they usually just they're so focused. They're just like looking at the shiny thing that they're about to ride.
Yeah, and then having someone like Nick developing all their foils and knowing that he's so good at that and knowing that he wants performance, and because you got to ride the lift foils, right? So whatever you put on there, it's got to be good.
Yeah.
And
it's and there's always the next thing. Like, it's never good enough. There's just vision of making it bigger and better every time. And sometimes Nick comes like, guys, I have this idea. Like, let's move on it. Let's go. It's like, dude, we still got we got to polish this stuff up like before we move on to the next. But there's always that drive. Like, let's move. Let's get to the next thing and improve.
oh, sorry.
A lot of moving parts to getting all those boards to all those places.
Right.
So I mean, look, you've kind of finished this design journey, right? And it seems like, I bet you're pretty happy with it. It seems like the Lift team in general. Nick sure seemed happy with it when he came out to the lineup. When I was out there with the foil drive, he's like, "Hey, buddy, check this out."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, wow!" And
Yeah.
I got on, and I felt the same way. What's the future, man? Where are you thinking now? Because like you've already achieved this thing. Obviously, you have like design tweaks and things you're going to work on, but are you guys, it's just pushing down the same path of performance? Like, how do we keep driving performance? I would assume, right? And it's all battery tech and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think the vision is just to try to make it as well. I think it's probably multiple threads there. Performance level. How do we make this like powered foiling experience as close as just pure foiling as possible?
Yeah.
Right. And it's always that kind of guiding light on like that's
And as
we're
easy
trying to
as
get to
possible.
the ultimate ride and the easiest path for somebody to get there as well.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, we have some things lined up. It's on
when you
the
ask that
board.
question, he's like,
It's on the board. It's on the board.
He's
But
like, I haven't talked to the PR team yet. I got to clear.
but it's also like just tuning and then making what we have our current stuff too. I mean, it's kind of twofold there, right? It's making sure the stuff we have released is quality, durable, long-lasting, satisfying everybody who gets their hands on it, and then also driving for the future as well. So
Yeah, and it seems like now you've got this great base for that, because for a company like yours, you kind of have to have your entry-level product line, and then you need your performance product line, because
Definitely.
they're such different beasts, right? The skill level, obviously Nick handed me his board, which is about as hard a board as you can ride for this kit, because he's got the long mast with the short board and whatever, right?
Right.
And I was just imagining if I'm not that great an e-foiler, but if I didn't have the wealth of foiling experience, there's absolutely no way I would have been able to get on foil, or hardly even been able to get on my knees on that thing, right? And obviously I tried the longer board. What was it? The
4.8.
4.8.
4.8, yeah.
Totally different, having more leverage, and that was easier to take off on. But
Yeah, and then we have the 5.2 as well. That's even
easier, right? And I think that length just changes that leverage or whatever. But the point is, there's so much design that still can go forward with these things to kind of get it to that place.
Right.
And I think that you got to have both. You can't be stuck knowing that this thing I'm designing has to work for a beginner, right? For you to get to where Nick wants the performance to be, you got to have the two lines. So it's exciting that you guys have that now, and with LiftX now, I'm sure it's going to keep pushing. And there's so much, additions and tweaks that I'm sure will come along the road that
Absolutely.
we'll all be able to dive into and enjoy.
For sure.
Dope. Yeah, anything special you want to share? Or
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just
something special to the audience. I don't know.
Yeah, what kind of
a little,
special?
I don't know, a little nugget. Something.
No, we're just pumped for this whole new lineup. I mean, I think both. I mean, the Lift5 too. I mean, we've made so many improvements on that, from the board design to just everything with all the quick connect, everything. Like it really is a different animal. It feels great out on the water, and then just LiftX just takes it to the next level. We're just excited to see where people take it.
We're excited.
Yeah,
I want to keep seeing all this development and get to play with all these awesome toys. And
I just want to ride it more, really. I just want to tune in. Like, I feel like I got to, like, touch it and feel it. And I'm like, I know, but I need, like, more sessions to tune in. So I look forward to getting that day.
They said they're going to send one to us.
Oh, they're sending us both?
Yeah.
Oh, that was so nice. You guys do that.
Yeah, right. Cam,
hey,
thank you so much, man. It was super cool to hang out the last couple of days and session.
Yes, likewise.
And thanks for doing this, because people are going to
pleasure.
enjoy the story.
People want to know.
People do want to know.
Cool. Thanks, guys.